We're going to be talking about Monday Night Raw from today. Actually, I just finished watching it in its entirety. Now Raw was live from Cincinnati, Ohio, and before we continue on, I do have to mention the DWA Monday Night SmackDown show is actually going to be postponed for a little later on because usually around this time we would have others coming in from, they got off work and they want to play another game. So we will do that, and then I will do the SmackDown broadcast. So please stay tuned for that. But before I also continue on, I have a special guest with me. He's been known as the Rabid Lazy Wolf on our shows. He's been in a few of the videos, but he hasn't really been in much in the videos in a while. Making his first appearance, though, in the Diamond Wrestling Podcast is John. John?
What's up?
Alright, John, you ready for the craziness that Cincinnati, Ohio brought for Monday Night Raw tonight?
Yeah. I know there was plenty of rumors going around before that Roman Reigns would show up on Monday Night Raw.
Well, guess what? It happened. So here's how Raw started. Raw started with Mr. McMahon coming out, and he's just basically telling everybody that, hey, the rumors are true. We're not trying to have Roman on Raw because of his commitments to SmackDown. Well, hold and behold, Roman has shown up to Monday Night Raw, but as well as a few other SmackDown superstars. And I will mention the two that were in this following segment: Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston. Now, Daniel Bryan, we haven't seen him in a month now because he had injuries that he had to deal with after WrestleMania. But according to what they played it off as, is that he was out for, like, meditation and whatever, which I find that a bunch of bullshit, but it was because of the injury. And also, the WWE Champion, Kofi Kingston. Now they're there, and Mr. McMahon is, like, getting ecstatic. He's getting a good hard-on. And then Drew McIntyre, who is affiliated with Raw, comes out. And this segment is like crazy town hell. And he tries to make it as the wild card rules. The wild card rules here. And how it works is like 3 or 4 SmackDown superstars can come to Raw, and then vice versa. So, Mr. McMahon, taking this opportunity to do so, had booked 2 WrestleMania rematches. Drew McIntyre against Roman Reigns, and then Daniel Bryan against Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship. Well, as soon as that... Alright, so... But as soon as the segment went about to go off, AJ Styles comes out. Now, what does AJ want with Vince McMahon? Well, AJ Styles is kind of like arguing with Mr. McMahon about the wild card rules, which is kind of it's ridiculous, but I guess to spice things up, I guess. Seth Rollins, the Universal Champion, came out and talked about what happened at the contract signing last week when AJ Styles did the phenomenal forearm on Seth Rollins through the table. And then it set Mr. McMahon to have Seth Rollins and AJ Styles be a tag team against Bobby Lashley and Baron Corbin. Now, you would thought that, they're going to put Styles and Rollins over, but no. They actually put Baron Corbin and Bobby Lashley over, and it was due to the mistake of AJ went for the phenomenal forearm, and was gonna hit Baron Corbin, but Corbin moved out of the way and hit Seth Rollins with it. And of course, after that, AJ ended up walking away from the match. Seth Rollins got hit with the end of days. Baron Corbin and Bobby Lashley won the tag team match. Now, I actually want to take this before we get into the Raw. SmackDown for tomorrow night has been announced. Now, due to the Hardys vacating the SmackDown tag team titles because of Jeff Hardy's knee injury caused by Lars Sullivan, they have announced that SmackDown, that they're going to crown a new SmackDown tag team champions. Now, makes me wonder, I don't even know any of the teams that are over on SmackDown at the very moment, so you may never know what's going to happen. So, what do you think, John? Do you think we might get an unexpected tag team to win the SmackDown tag team titles?
Well, let's see. As far as I know, I do know a couple of them are over there. Still, let's see if I remember correctly. I think, because when I saw Heavy Machinery was on SmackDown now.
Right.
So, it might be them. There was a couple others I saw. They actually, WWE's Facebook page actually had something for that, listed for that. Let me see if I can find it here.
Because I know that amongst the Superstar Draft, we no longer have the Bar, because Cesaro was on Raw, and we never saw Sheamus on Raw, so therefore it would seem likely that Sheamus might be still on SmackDown from a part of this Superstar shakeup. But also, plus, Sheamus actually is rumored to be leaving soon because he's been dealing with kind of like a sickness in his spine or something. So he might be retiring from the wrestling business.
Yeah, so now apparently the B team are also over there for the SmackDown Championship.
I did see the B team. They had a handicap match against Roman Reigns actually just last week. So I remembered they were on there.
You have Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh, that's right. Rusev and Nakamura are still there. That's right.
You still have Kofi Kingston and...
Well, remember, it's only Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Big E's still...
Woods.
Yeah, and Big E is still out with that injury he sustained.
Then I guess they're listing Shane McMahon and Elias as a tag team now. Which...
Well, that's kind of... Well, I think that's Gaga, but we will see when SmackDown hits. Alright, so let's continue on. So next, here comes Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn comes out. Now, what do you think of Sami Zayn's kind of gimmick? He sounds like one of those, armchair psychiatric therapists. And he's, talking this nonsense, absolutely nothing up. But what do you think of the gimmick?
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, of course.
Retarded.
Well,
absolutely retarded. Because unfortunately, it's a gimmick that WWE try to play with Daniel Bryan as well when he became the new Daniel Bryan.
Right. Yeah,
and
something along those lines.
It did not really go
yeah.
well with Daniel Bryan, and a lot of people are not happy with the fact they're trying to now push it onto Sami Zayn.
Right. And, well, here in a little bit, I actually will mention, the commentary team went, someone has to shut up Sami Zayn. Well, who does shut him up finally? Well, Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman comes out. He chases Sami Zayn throughout the ringside area and into the crowd, and also chased him towards the back. And actually, it chased him within until, like, they show part of, like, the remainder of the chase in, like, before the Lucha House Party had a match, and I'll mention that in a minute. But Braun Strowman had chased Sami Zayn throughout the back and went towards, like, the area where you can go to the parking lot of the arena. Well, Braun got Sami finally, puts Sami Zayn inside of a dumpster, and the worst thing out of it was an actual dumpster truck comes through and picks up the dumpster, and Sami Zayn was in the dumpster and falls into the chute. So, and then the truck just left off.
Well, it's not the first time they played that sort of gimmick. It won't be the last.
Absolutely. Played with the trash. Anyways, I put it here, the Lucha House Party against locals, because these guys look like they were local independent people that we don't even hear of and whatever. But the Lucha House Party picked up the big victory with Lince Dorado finally putting the final touches with the Shooting Star Press and to win the match. Now, next is actually this one is actually going to be interesting. This happened about 2 weeks ago. Ricochet versus the new, I say, glorious Robert Roode. Okay, what do you think of Robert Roode now? Just Bobby Roode, just except
looks
he's
like
trying to be like
classic porn star. I'll be honest with you. That mustache gives him the classic porn star look.
We're sorry, Robert. We're sorry, Robert Roode. We're sorry.
I'm not sorry, Robert Roode. If you ever see this, I'm not sorry. You are looking like a classic porn star right now, man.
Oh man.
I don't care about the name change so much. Honestly, I think Robert Roode sounds much better than Bobby Roode. So I'm cool with that. But the mustache thing, man,
you gotta yeah.
Either get rid of it or go back out the beard at least, or give yourself a goatee or something.
Pretty much. Give him that TNA look.
But the porn star mustache, man, come on, dude.
All right.
I mean, as NFL experts put it, come on, man.
There you go. But it's Ricochet versus Robert Roode with the Money in the Bank spot on the line. Now, the reason why this is happening, because Ricochet's in the Money in the Bank ladder match, but Robert Roode had a legitimate claim that 2 weeks ago he beat a Ricochet, and he felt that he deserved to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match, which by any means he would. But of course, Ricochet picked up the big victory with the 630 splash, always beautiful, and Ricochet remains in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Next we had Lacey Evans, the Southern Belle, I guess we're calling her that now. First as a local competitor, Lacey Evans ended the match with the women's right. And of course, after the match, she starts to cut a promo on the four ladies, because they had Naomi, Dana Brooke, Natalya, and Alexa Bliss out just to watch Lacey Evans take out this local competitor. And Lacey Evans bring out the fact, if I beat Becky Lynch and I'm the Raw Women's Champion, if you even think about cashing in on me, you're making the biggest mistake of your life. Well, here's the thing. I don't think everybody is really all about the Lacey Evans gimmick. I mean, it could have gone over, like, maybe, like, Attitude Errors, or where she can actually be that despicable heel or whatever, but no, not in today's company. But anyway,
hold on. I'll be honest with you.
Of course. Well, hey, this is an honest, open podcast here, so you can say whatever you want.
This gimmick can actually work in today's era, had she started doing it earlier.
Right. Right, because she's
been doing it for a little while. Yeah, we couldn't have gotten used to the gimmick. It could work. No, this whole time, ever since she came to both brands, before they determined which brand she was going to, she would just walk out and dresses and everything else, sit there, twirl around, and then just go backstage, not doing anything. Well,
and I think it was about time that they would really put her into the ring.
Well,
but
like I said, they should have
agree.
done it. They should have done this earlier.
No, that one I actually agree on. Well, we're gonna go ahead and
then the gimmick could have worked. Right now, the gimmick ain't gonna work.
Yep, and I think everybody might actually say the exact same opinion that you have, John. But next we have the War Raiders, or AKA WWE's version, the Viking Raiders. Oh my God. Versus the WWE Raw Tag Team Champions, Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. Here's what I wrote down. The Major Bros, because they were known as the Major Bros before they were Edgeheads, and then, of course, just Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. The War Raiders actually defeated the Major Bros. So, meaning, because I still think the War Raiders are still the tag team champions on NXT. They didn't bring the titles with them. Kind of like what Kevin Owens did when he came in. He had the NXT title on him. But the War Raiders didn't do that. So if the War Raiders lost to a tag team on NXT, like during the next TakeOver, we could see the War Raiders go after the Raw Tag Team titles. I mean, it's just a what-if scenario as far as I'm concerned. What do you think?
Well, now, more than likely, that's probably what WWE is going to have them do.
Right.
But I get the feeling probably they're not going to have the War Raiders be handed the belts.
Right.
Basically, just like that. They're probably going to have them show up, have them participate in the match. Probably going to wind up losing by some
awful way or something.
Exactly.
No, I agree.
They're probably going to sit there and make this a little rivalry between the two for a couple months. And then finally, probably going to have the War Raiders finally win the belts.
I actually would see that happening. Now I added this in my notes. Noticing after the War Raiders Major Bros match, the fans were not reacting. The fans were just like dead. They were asleep, and I was like, what the fuck? And it got me to thinking about what's been really going on in the news with WWE and their ratings. Because they actually recently, I think it was last week or recently, they actually had the lowest rating on Raw. And I think it's because I think the fans are starting to realize WWE is starting to become something that it despised. Which meaning WWE is almost turning into WCW because of the wacky shit that they got going on, and just a confusing mess. And it actually, I saw it just firsthand, and it's really, I think it's just my opinion basically, but with AEW doing that Double or Nothing pay-per-view, or, you know, segment thing going on, it's probably, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I guess we will see, to go from there.
Hold up. Speaking of Double or Nothing, did you see the promo Dean Ambrose, or now as he's known as Jon Moxley, dropped?
Yes,
after his contract terminated.
Actually, I mentioned it. I mentioned it in the. I mentioned it in one of the last episodes. I actually mentioned about Dean Ambrose and Jon Moxley, or Jon Moxley now, doing that promo off his Twitter, and I think it's really symbolic, and I think it's great that Jon Moxley, Dean Ambrose, is doing, you know, being himself. He's being the hardcore lunatic that a lot of people wanted.
Now, a lot of people are speculating that somebody was backing him because of the high quality of this promo.
Right.
And a lot of people are speculating it is AEW due to the fact when you first see the talk marks on the wall, you see it's a total of 25. And then if you pay close attention, when Dean Ambrose is Jon Moxley is walking out in his hoodie outside, he walks by a little poster, and it has a snake, and it has two dice, one side reading 2 and the other side reading 5.
Yep. I actually noticed that. Actually. So it would mean AEW has just picked up Jon Moxley or Dean Ambrose as a top talent, and I think AEW could do better with him instead of like what WWE did, because no offense, but WWE did okay with a little bit of what he did during his time with the company, but after a while, it just, I guess it left a bad taste. But this is renovating, this is brand new, and this is something that I think it had to be done.
So, now, I got a question for you.
Of course.
Now, this is a little bit in the future, since both of these superstars still have contracts left. If Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns' contracts run out, do you think they will do the same thing that Dean Ambrose did and leave WWE altogether, or do you think they will resign?
Well, and here's the thing, Seth right now is getting treated like a big star. I mean, yeah, of course he was a big star before, but he's starting to get back into the mood. He's getting into the swings. Whereas Roman is starting like small, like he's doing small fish fry before he gets to the big fish. But if their contracts, here's what I'm predicting. If Roman and Seth do leave, I think they would try to do their own thing. I wouldn't think Seth would probably be wrestling. I think he would just do it for like maybe if he was asked to do it like appearances and whatever. Because not only he's been doing his like gym workouts and whatever, but he owns his own coffee shop. So, and Roman, I don't know if he even wants to, I don't know if Roman, well, I don't know what Roman would do. But if they do resign, then I'm pretty much sure that they're going to try and book him differently and see what they can come up with.
Now, the reason why I'm asking this is everybody knows Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Dean Ambrose / Jon Moxley are best friends in real life.
Yeah.
They go to each other's houses. They've been together. They've been together since basically FWC days, when they were down on here preparing to go to WWE NXT.
Right. By the way, it was FCW.
Shows.
It was FCW, not FWC.
Yeah, sorry, FCW.
It's okay. It's all right. Hey, don't worry about it. It happens. So, it happens to the best of us.
I'm asking this due to the fact I'm asking this because what I'm thinking is, should these two leave WWE, they might go to wherever Dean Ambrose is
and see what they can do there.
And see what they can do there. Now, I know WWE has a license on the Shield gimmick, so they can't take the Shield name with them.
Right.
But they can still do something similar to that. I mean,
yeah,
we all know WWE, TNA had the whole. WWE has a lot of gimmicks locked down, so they can't take them with them.
Right.
Or they had to change the names or something like that. Like Big Cass had to change his to instead of 2 S's, double Z's. Fucking Rhino, when he went to TNA, they changed it from RYNO to RINO.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, I guess we will see when that happens. Now, next, we go into the Firefly Funhouse segment. These ones are always your favorite, John. Okay, so this one is apparently very, very bizarre. Okay, so we begin the segment with Bray Wyatt, of course, coming in through the door and doing his normal shtick, like, "Hi everybody," you know, in his cheerful mood and whatever. Well, he looks and see Mercy the Buzzard doing something inside of his box, and there's like fluff inside of his box, and they're going, "What the hell is going on?" Well, and then Sister Abby, Abby the Witch comes into the window and see what's going on. Well, Mercy the Mercy the Buzzard ends up destroying and possibly, I guess, eating Rambling Rabbit, which was a puppet that showed up on the last week's segment, and Bray Wyatt was like, it's okay, forgiveness happens here, and I guess the best way was like a picnic or something. And then there's these bunch of kids on the floor with sunglasses and hats, and the kids' face, they looked so uncomfortable because Bray Wyatt was so creepy. It was just so weird, and you would see on the video, the kids were just so uncomfortable. If I was one of those kids, I would. But that whole segment was, I wrote this down, Firefly Funhouse segment, Mercy the Buzzard eating Rambling Rabbit. What the hell is happening? Kids look uncomfortable. This gimmick is up there. Even the commentators, they were actually just going, "What the hell is going on?" Oh, man.
So, I'll be honest with you. I'm not digging the new Bray Wyatt. Not digging it. I'm
not digging. You know what? This gimmick is weird, and it's something that it's a little uncomfortable.
And
I'm agreeing with you.
So, a few weeks ago, back when they first introduced the Firefly Funhouse gimmick, Bray Wyatt tweeted out that some things cannot or are not meant to be. We'll just have to see in the future. So a lot of people speculated that maybe they're going to end this Firefly Funhouse gimmick either instantly or probably slowly. I'm thinking it's probably going to be the latter. They're going to do it probably for another few weeks or so, and then it's just going to disappear.
Right.
Now, do I see this, so now, but I just don't see this Firefly Funhouse gimmick going over so well.
Yeah, because
I mean, it's a new touch, and it's probably this is something they had never done before, but this was, Bray Wyatt was probably not the best person to go with.
Yeah. I mean, go with someone different, actually, to do this gimmick with. But anyways. Next we had Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre in one of the 2 WrestleMania rematches. Now, they were good back and forth, but one of the spots that I liked was McIntyre did a spine buster on Roman Reigns and went for like a jackknife pin, which shows that how Drew McIntyre can be strong, but he can also be agile because he's a combination of strength, speed, and agility because he's really good. The fans started waking up after, this has been going interesting between Roman and Dean. Well, the match ends in disqualification due to Shane McMahon and Elias attacking Roman Reigns. So automatically, Roman Reigns wins by disqualification. Now, I didn't mention this, but during the show, during Raw, The Miz was waiting outside Shane McMahon's room, wanting to attack him. Well, of course, The Miz comes out. He goes after Shane. And then Roman, still in trouble, eats a Claymore kick from Drew McIntyre due to the double team of Elias and Drew McIntyre. And, of course, Shane McMahon and The Miz were having a scuffle out in the parking lot. But Shane did kick City on Miz and got away in the limo. Now, next here, we have the Revival against the Good Brothers. Now, before the match could begin, the Usos came out. Now, as you know, the Usos are on... Oh, my God. Now, this one... The Usos, last week, embarrassed the Revival by recording Dash Wilder shaving Scott Dawson's back. Well, guess what they did this week? They did a thing, and I can't believe they actually went for this. They come out and they said, listen, we got this thing. And they said, have you ever heard of Icy Hot? Well, they brought out a thing called Oozy Hot. Now, what happened was, apparently they switched the Revival's thing that they wiped them, the oil that they used to, put on their bodies. They put that Oozy Hot cream on them, and they're burning. They're burning. They were burning. They were burning to death, and they were just hurting and burning and everything. And then they came upstage where the Usos were at, and they had water bottles. And guess what the Revival did with the water bottles? They poured the water where their private areas were at. And guess what the Usos said? That just made it worse. So they so the Revival poured water on them, on their private parts, and it just made the Uzi hot cream a lot worse. Oh. And my God, and I feel bad too for both the Good Brothers, Gallows and Anderson. The reason why I felt so bad was because, you know, when they came in 2016, they had a lot of, momentum coming in because they were coming in from New Japan. They were coming down to WWE, and they had really something going. But Gallows and Anderson are now just lost in the shuffle, and that's really sad now. It's upsetting. It's really sad that they had a lot of great talent that are on the roster, but they get lost in the shovel, and that's why WWE can release a lot of guys, is because they really don't have room for the talent, because these guys can be talented in the ring, but the problem was that WWE doesn't want to do anything with them. And well, I just felt bad.
That's maybe why and that's a major cause of their ratings going down. It's because WWE isn't putting any of their talent to use. And I mean any. Yes, they have champions or anything, but they're not making the best use of their skills.
Absolutely.
It's even Seth Rollins not showing off not doing his best, showing off a lot of his skills, except for at pay-per-views.
Absolutely. And then, okay, actually, I got a story about one of the talents that came from, like, a promotion back in the day. But I guess I could take a break and we'll talk about it here. Now, you probably watched wrestling back in the day, but you remember the Basham brothers.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Doug Basham was actually, before he came into the WWE, becoming, teaming with Danny and worked as only a tag team wrestler, in OVW, he worked as like a singles guy. He had long hair. He had the heelish, he was a heel. He had the six-pack, and he had the black leather pants with the Doug Basham logos on him. And he was used as a top heel for the OVW roster. Well, Doug Basham, the WWE creative team screwed him up by making him shave his hair, make him bald. As Jim Cornette said the story, he walked into TV, he was bald, and he looked like a 40-year-old truck driver. He asked Doug, what the fuck what happened? And Doug said to him, well, they had me come to Raw or SmackDown, and the creative wanted to see what I look like bald. Of course, Jim Cornette then calls John Laurinaitis, because John Laurinaitis was head of the talent relations part of the WWE back then. And he said, hey, Laurinaitis, my top heel just walked in. He looked like a 40-year-old truck driver. Can you tell your creative team that if they can't pretend or don't imagine on what a guy looks like bald, give me a few weeks. I'll book him in a hair match. I'll shave it and sell some tickets. Thank you. Fuck you. Bye. And Doug Basham, when he came into the business, he wasn't used rightly, even though he was tag team champions, but he was lost in the shuffle just like the Good Brothers are. And he just got mind fucked and left the business.
Well, now, that's the thing. Like I said, and this is probably where WWE is becoming WCW, because WCW did the exact same thing. they did not put a good use to a lot of their talent.
Right. Hold on, I gotta mute my mic real quick. Alright, I just got summoned, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the few of, the stuff here. So next we had No Way Jose and his conga line dancing. Seriously, what the fuck? But then got interrupted by Lars Sullivan, the Freak. Yes, he was supposed to be on SmackDown, but apparently he just showed up on Raw, decimated the entire conga line, except for the women, and destroyed No Way Jose.
Not surprised.
And then the main event. Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. Now, on hindsight, you would think Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan could have been a good rating match, like maybe at least a 4. Because you got two technical athletes that can go in the ring, and they can actually pull a good match, in my opinion. But of course, Kofi Kingston actually retains the title, and so he's set to go against Kevin Owens at Money in the Bank for the WWE title. And then this was the last announcement. Raw next week is going to London, to the United Kingdom. So, everybody, we're gonna end it. John, thank you for joining me, being the guest star or the guest host on my lovely Diamond Wrestling podcast.
No problem.
And everybody, like I said, stay tuned later on for the first episode of DWA Monday Night SmackDown. It's gonna probably be like taped a little later or something, like after 1 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday or something. But it'll be up on YouTube. And ladies and gentlemen, now remember, I'm not the experience, I'm not the drive-through, and not even the Ross Report. But I promise to bring the diamond standard of wrestling. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll end the podcast here. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you all later.